Hello everyone, happy Thursday. Let's see if anyone comes in right now. I'm gonna go ahead and just get started. So what I've got is my yoga mat, I've got my mini band. To start the warm up, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of space here just because we're gonna do some walking mini band stuff. I guess before I really get started, a couple of things. I will be on PTO tomorrow, so I'm just gonna make a post later today about the run tomorrow. So like I said earlier, kind of going over the Samsung 5K, 10K stuff. This week, the first week of training is gonna be a little bit different than the last one. So I know we already had our interval day, but I want you guys to try sometime this week to get a 1 mile run time. It doesn't have to be your absolute max effort, but let's kind of think 8, 9 out of 10 effort. So do push yourself here a little bit, but don't make it the absolute worst thing that ever happened. So with that, what we're gonna use is for our tempo runs based off your pace, how we can improve from there. So little side note, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So equipment that we'll need today is just gonna be a mini band and a kettlebell. I'm gonna use different weights here because we've got different sets and different exercises. If you guys only have dumbbells, that's fine. If you have some household weights that you can make work, that's also great. So to get started, I'm just gonna put the mini band around my ankles and we're just gonna do some forward and backward monster walks. So I'm gonna start way back here. Me and my feet shoulder width apart, and I'm just gonna walk forward and backwards twice. And ideally, I wanna keep the band the same distance the whole time. So I'm driving my knees out, not letting that band get loose. And then I'm just taking little steps, picking my foot up, putting it down. You don't wanna hear any sort of sliding here because you wanna stay in control of this movement. All right, I'm just gonna do one more. When doing mini band stuff to warm up, you're definitely gonna feel your legs burning a little bit. That's totally fine. We just don't wanna abuse it too much so that we're too tired to do the rest of the workout. But if you're feeling the burn, that's totally normal. So now we're gonna do lateral walks. So same thing, I'm in that same position, but now if I'm moving to my left, I'm gonna push with my right, picking up my left foot, putting it down where I want it to be, not letting that band get loose. Now I'm pushing off my left to move to the right. My legs are definitely on fire already. I'm gonna go one more time. Oh, I've disappeared, and I'm back. All right, so now the next thing, I just wanted to make sure I stay on track, so I actually typed out my workout today. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the band at our knees. So you can do the walks with the band at your knees anyway. I just chose the ankles for a little bit more resistance. So now I'm getting in that base position. I don't necessarily wanna squat, but I am gonna drive my hips back, driving my knees out a little bit to keep that band tight. We're gonna do YTWs. So what that looks like is I'm gonna start with my arms straight, and to make a Y, I'm pointing my thumbs up at the ceiling like I'm making a Y shape. So I'm kind of pulling my shoulders back and down towards my hips. I'm gonna do a couple more. And 5. Now moving into the T's. So my hands are together again, and now I'm just gonna move out to the side, making a T. While at the same time, I've got that mini band on, I'm still dragging my knees out. I can still feel a little bit of tension in my legs. And last one's gonna be Y's. So now same thing, I'm just gonna bend my elbows, and I'm lifting through the elbows themselves. So I feel like I'm pinching a magazine with my shoulder blades. And I'm gonna stop once I'm level. About 3 more, 2, and 1. Sweet. So those are our YTWs. Good shoulder exercises, especially if you're gonna go run, we wanna loosen up a little bit here, because I know when we get tired, we start to shrug up a little bit, or at least I do. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is our hip flexor. So I've moved the band down to my shoe, so they're on the ball of my foot. And if you guys watch Technique Tuesday, I definitely did this. So now I'm gonna shift my weight to the left, and I'm just gonna do, I'm pretty sure 5 each side. I'm gonna do 5 each side, where I'm just driving one knee up and back down. And I'm gonna do the same side before I switch. 3, 4, 5. All right, switching sides, standing up tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Cool. So you can keep the band in the same spot. We're gonna take it down to the ground now. So if you guys have your mat or just somewhere that you are okay laying down, we're gonna do 5 banded glute bridges, single leg each side. If you guys feel like this is too much resistance, or if you don't have a lighter band, you can just do it without a band just to ensure that you get the proper movement. So my back's on the ground. I'm gonna lift one knee up, so I've got my right knee up. I'm gonna drive through my left heel, and now the band gets a little bit tighter, and I'll relax. So when I get to the top, I'm just gonna hold for a second and let myself back down. 3, 4, and 5. All right, switching sides. Something to remember, as you feel the resistance pull, keep driving your hips up versus arching your back to get up. So if you feel like your back is taking the weight, then just lower the resistance or don't use the band at all. So switching sides, my left leg is up, right heel is gonna drive through the floor. We got 5 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, and 5. Sweet. So we can go ahead and take that off. The next thing we're gonna do is T-spine rotations. I'm actually gonna bring my piece of paper over here. So T-spine rotation, we've got 5 each side. So I'm on all fours. I'm gonna put one hand on my head, bring my elbow under, and then as I exhale, looking up towards the garage, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, and 5. Another tip, exhale on the way up. See if you can get a little bit further on each repetition. So now we're going to the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, and 5. All right, so those are our T-spine rotations. Now we're gonna do 5 knee hugs to single leg RDLs each side. So what that looks like is I'm gonna get my stable base. I'm gonna bring my left knee as high as I can to my chest. Same leg is now gonna push back behind me as I reach forward. And that's 1. And I'm just gonna do 5 before switching sides. 2, 3, 2 more, 4, and 5. All right, switch sides. Remember when you guys are kicking out, see if you can point that toe down towards the floor and keep it pointed there. If we open our toe up, we usually bring our hips with it. So remember, stay straight down. So knee hug to single leg RDL, we're switching sides. We've got 5 repetitions. That's 1. 2. 3. Whoop. 4. We got 1 more. Almost just missed that completely. And 5. All right, so that was our knee hug to single leg RDL. Now what we're gonna do is 5 plank with rotations each side. So I'm gonna get into my plank position right here. So I'm on my forearms, my hips are down. What I'm gonna do is just start here. I'm gonna reach underneath as much as I can, the opposite side, and up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Cool. Those are our plank with rotations. Last one we've got is our push-up position with Ys. So we did YTWs right in the beginning of the warm-up. Now we're just gonna throw in that same kind of movement pattern, but we're holding our push-up, so a little bit more stability required here. 5 each side. So I'm creating that stable base, and ideally, I'm just gonna lift my thumb up and bring it back down. I don't want any other movement from anywhere else. So if you feel like you're shifting side to side, just move your feet further away from each other to create a more stable base. So I'm gonna start over. We got 5 each side. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo. All right, so that's the warm up done. Hope you guys are feeling ready. I'm gonna grab some water really quick. What kind of water? So, cool thing about live is that if you guys have any questions, I'll definitely try to see the comments because we got some people joined, so that's awesome. So if you guys have any questions, definitely punch them in if you have a second, and I will try to answer them. So, the first thing we've got, we're definitely gonna need a kettlebell or some form of weight. So it's gonna be 3 rounds. We've got 3 exercises. We're gonna do an iso hold goblet squat for 20 seconds. After 20 seconds, we've got 5 repetitions. So we're doing a little bit of isometrics and then some standard squats at the end for a little bit more volume. And then we've got half windmills. We've got 6 each side and bent row isolation hold for 20 seconds plus the 5 reps. That should have been on there if you guys saw the post earlier. I didn't type that in, but it's definitely happening. So I'll remind you guys. So a couple things, you can either use 1 weight or 2 weights. It's totally fine. And that's pretty much speaking for the rows. If you want to do both arms at the same time, I'm probably just going to do single arm for a little bit more stability. So the first thing we've got is our goblet squat 20-second hold. So if you haven't done a goblet squat before or you haven't used a kettlebell for it, what I do is just flip it upside down just so I can cup the weight in my palms and hold it closer to my chest versus holding it by the handles gets a little bit awkward. So the first thing we're gonna do just before we get started is you ideally wanna hold at least 90 degrees or wherever the lowest comfortable position you can get into is, keeping your feet flat on the ground. After 20 seconds, then you're gonna go right into 5 repetitions. So something to think about, if you're super mobile and you can hang out way at the bottom and you feel like you're not really contracting your muscles anymore, just come up a little bit higher because we do still wanna feel pretty good amount of tension during this hold. Okay, so let's go ahead and get set up. We're gonna hold for 20 seconds. Ready, and down. And I'll try to count. That's halfway. $18, $19, $20. All right, 5 repetitions. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a lighter kettlebell If you guys have a variety of weights, that's great. If not, find something medium or heavy, just if you haven't done this exercise before, or you can do it with no weight at all and just get the movement in. So half windmill, what that's gonna look like is you guys are in a half kneeling position. You're now gonna put the kettlebell, I'm gonna do my left side first, so my left knee is bent and in front of me. I'm gonna put the kettlebell in my left arm. I'm just gonna press straight up. So this is my starting position. And now I wanna keep my eyes on the kettlebell, and I'm gonna move my hips back and touch the floor. And then come back up. So I'm rotating down and up. And this might seem simple to some. We can up it on the next set. I'll show you what to do, but we're just gonna do 6 each side here. Here we go. 1, 2, remember, keep your arms straight, push your hips back as far as you can. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go ahead and switch sides. And this one's really good to practice starting out in, because we really get comfortable pushing our hips back versus kind of, I can't find the word, not pushing our hips back. There we go. Okay, so we got 6 this side. Looking up at the weight, hands on the ground, rotating back up. That's 1, 2, 3. Really emphasize bringing your shoulders away and then pointing them forward at the top. I think that's 4, 5, last one, and 6. Cool. So, bent row, isometric. So, 2 ways of doing this. If you have 2 weights that you want to use, that's awesome. If you have 1, you might take a little bit longer doing this one. I'll go the long way just to make sure everyone stays on track, or you could use 2. So I'm gonna start with the blues. So again, starting position, super crucial here. If you're doing an isometric hold, you wanna be holding the proper position. So easy way to start is just starting tall, pushing your hips back until your chest is flat to the floor. A lot of times when our rows get a little bit heavy, we start standing up and kind of do this movement. We're not doing shrugs. We want to work our back. So this is the position that we'll be holding. So my elbows are just about at a 90 degrees, and we're holding here. So we'll go ahead and get started. I don't know why I spaced out just then, but we're gonna do 20 seconds and then we're gonna do 5 repetitions. Since I'm gonna do single arm, I'm just gonna leave this one off to the side. That's what you'll do a double. Enough talking. Here we go. We got 20 seconds. And we're up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 seconds. Get ready. All right, 5 rows. Hold that same position. 4 and 5. Cool. Switching sides. Ready, and we're up. Keeping that flat back. Elbows close to the side, pulling up. Keep that same tension. I'm just gonna call that halfway. Three, 2, 1, 5 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Awesome. Okay. So now we're going into our second round. We've got 3 rounds total. So depending on what you have and how you feel, you can either go up with the weight. If you felt like you couldn't hold the full 20 seconds, go ahead and lower it. I'm actually gonna go I'm just gonna say the same. Okay, 20 seconds. Ready, set, go. Really focus on keeping that chest up and breathe. It's about halfway. And now goal for this, when you guys come out of that first squat, don't bounce into the bottom. Press up right where you are. Ready? And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nice job. All right. So, kettlebell windmills, you can either do the half kneeling again, you can go ahead and get started. You've got 6 reps each side. If you want to progress this one a little bit, if you feel like you were able to get into that position and back up, feeling really stable, then we're gonna go ahead and do standing windmill. So, same thing. I'm gonna take a wider stance. I'm standing now. I'm gonna move my toes a little bit towards the right if the kettlebell's in my left hand. I'm gonna look up at the kettlebell and I'm just gonna slide and touch the inside of my right foot. So I'm still pushing my hips back. I'm gonna come up. If this one's a little bit challenging, you can either stop at your knee, mid-shin, or go all the way to your ankle. Those are your options, as long as you're keeping that arm straight, looking up at the kettlebell. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, last one, woo, 6, all right. So now we're switching it to the other hand. I'm gonna watch my toes, kind of point them off to the left now. I'm gonna rotate, so I'm looking up at my weight. I've got my left hand pointed down, and I'm just gonna shimmy all the way down to my ankle and back up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, last one, and 6. All right, getting right into our rows. I'm gonna go ahead and bump up this one. Actually, that's the same weight. So I'm gonna grab my heavier one. Let's see how I do. So we got 20 seconds on the left plus 5 rows, 20 seconds on the right plus 5 rows. If you wanna use 2 weights, you're getting it done in one go. I'm gonna do the single arm version. So we're set up, my shoulders are back. Ready, and we're up. That's halfway. Three, 2, 1, 5 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Switching sides. If you guys just finished that, you can grab some water and get ready for the next set. Otherwise, we're switching to that right side. Ready, and up. That's halfway. And ready, 5 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo! All right, so that's round 2 done. Go ahead and grab some water if you haven't already. I have actually got a grapefruit spin drift. If anyone loves those, you can let me know. Otherwise, cool. All right, we're gonna get into our last block here. I'm gonna crank it up a little bit with my heaviest kettlebell that I have. So we've got our last 20-second hold plus 5 repetitions. Go ahead and set up here. All right, 20 seconds, last one. 3, 2, 1, and down. 3, 2, 1. 5 reps. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right on. Ooh, felt significantly heavier. Okay, we're getting back into our kettlebell windmills, 6 each side. Left arm up. I'm gonna move my feet to the right a little bit, looking up to the left, and then I'm just sliding my hips back, looking up at the weight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, last one, and 6. Switch sides. Don't forget to shift your feet. Hands open, looking up at the weight. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and double my rows up. So I'm gonna do both at the same time. So mix it up a little bit. So I've got both my weights face this way. So shoulders back. I've got my back flat. I can balance a glass of water if I wanted to. Right here, I'm just gonna pick up off the ground. Here we go, 20 seconds. And we're up. 1, that's halfway. Keep those shoulders away from your ears. 3, 2, 1. We got 5 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nice job. So that's the end of the first block. How are we all doing? Get some to comment. Or get some water. That's definitely more important. So I'm gonna move these off to the side. All right. So, block 2. The 3 exercises we've got, it's still gonna be 3 rounds. We've got seated glute ham raises, 5. We've got half kneeling rotations, and we've got a kneeling press. And that's gonna go 8, 6, 5. And I'll explain that when we get there. So seated glute ham raise. This one you can do starting out with just body weight before you add any resistance to it. So I'm just gonna go over how this should feel and how it should look. So if I'm in a kneeling position, I'm gonna put the tops of my feet flat on the ground. I'm gonna space my knees out pretty much just so they're under my hips. So I don't want them to be touching. I just want them right under. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna watch my hips. So I kind of naturally kneel like this. I'm just gonna bring my hips tucked under a little bit so I kind of feel that neutral spine feeling, if you will. So I've got less of a curve. And now I'm just gonna hold my hands close to my chest. So I'm gonna initially squeeze with my glutes, and I'm just gonna let my hips sit back towards my heels. When I feel like I'm still in an achievable point to get back up, I'm gonna squeeze my glutes and my hamstrings to get up. You're definitely gonna feel this also in your quads, right up here, but don't let that be kind of a big sign of potentially doing it completely wrong. Here are some things that you can kind of keep an eye on. We don't wanna sit back. So we're not hinging anymore and getting up. My chest and my upper body weight is gonna be part of the resistance here. So the further back I bring my hips while my shoulders still align, that's gonna be right on the money. So before you add any sort of resistance, just make sure you can go through this movement pattern and really just think, if you get to a point where you're way too far and you can't get back up and have to lean forward to get up, then maybe just go right here. Just kind of find where that threshold is. And the more we do, the more you'll get comfortable with this movement. So that being said, I'm just gonna start with full body weight, 5 repetitions. So this will be our first official set. So go ahead and get set up. I'm just gonna cross my arms. We got 5 reps. Slow and controlled. Keep tension in your hands and glutes the whole time. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, one more, and 5. All right. It's super easy to start depending on your quads to get you back up. That's normal. Just remember, really not really visualize, but just keep squeezing your glutes and hamstrings to kind of keep that tension and pulling yourself back up. All right, enough of that. We're gonna do our half kneeling rotations. I don't know why I got up. So half kneeling position, I'm gonna grab a weight for this one. This one we've got 5 each side. So I'm just gonna hold it here, or you can hold it like a goblet. I'm just gonna stay here. So if my left knee is bent and in front of me, I'm now gonna rotate to my left as much as I can and forward. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, keep your stomach tight, and 5. Switching sides, 5 reps. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Couple things there. Something to notice when you do these is that I especially do this. When you're reaching back, don't press behind you to see how far you can get. See how well you can rotate to get there. So you don't want the weight to leave your chest. The second thing, you might think, well, Katie, where am I feeling this? Like, what is this exercising? You'll notice that in between each strength block, we're doing a little bit of a corrective or a mobility exercise. This will give us time to kind of recover from the strength movement we did, get ready for the next one, and also they're just good for you. So there we go. Next one we've got is gonna be kneeling press. So you guys can either use 2 weights or 1 weight for this. I'm gonna go ahead and use my 2 weights. I'm gonna start light. So any weight you have for this, as long as you can grip it to press, is gonna be good here. Kneeling position, so now we've gone from half kneeling to kneeling. Now we're a little bit less stable than when we had kind of an anchor point in front of us. So my knees were pretty much just set up like our seated glute ham raise. So I want to make sure that my hips are still forward. I have neutral spine, so I want to avoid getting into this position. So now we've got 5 repetitions. Nope, we're starting with 8, and we're gonna go down. So it's gonna be 8, 6, 5. So each set, you can get a little bit heavier depending on what you have. So what I'm gonna do is start, if you're using kettlebells, I'm gonna start with my palms facing inward. As I press up, they're gonna face out, and then bring them back in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and down. All right, grab some water if you need some. We're gonna get into the next set. What I like about this one, or being in the kneeling position, is we're also really asking our core to stabilize instead of being seated, where we can pretty much just loosen up in the stomach and just make our shoulders do the work. Now we're getting a little bit more out of this lift. So without too much talking, we're gonna get back into our second set. So we're on our glute hams. So I'll just face this way this time. My feet are flat on the ground. Knees are under my hips. I'm gonna put my hands on my chest, and I'm just gonna start leading with my shoulders to get back. Try to keep that same position for my shoulders, hips, and knees. I'm engaged in my glutes and my hamstrings. Here we go. We got 5 reps. 1, 2, 3, 2 more. 4, and 5. Another thing to note with that one, don't go too fast into your descent and feel like you're catching yourself and bouncing out, leading to a little bit of a shrug forward. Even keeping that tension on your descent is gonna get more out of that exercise. All right, so we're back into our half kneeling rotations. Another variation you can do for this one is if you have your weight and we're here, you can just hold it on the side of the leg that's bent in front of you and then rotate out. I think this one kind of gets in the way a little bit more, but the pull down on your shoulder does kind of feel nice. So I'm just gonna do them this way this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, and 5. Switching sides. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 2 more. 4, and 5. All right, so now we're in our kneeling row. So you guys are now at 6 repetitions. So if you have different weights, you can try to make it a little bit more challenging this time. If not, you can stay the same, that's totally fine. I think I did the light ones for 8. Now I'm gonna go to my blues for 6. So remember, same position, knees right under our hips. We're still engaged in our glutes to keep us upright. We're gonna avoid adding too much weight and going into back extension. And I'm gonna start palms facing in and then pressing away as I bring the weight up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more, 6. Woohoo! That felt better than I thought it was going to. Okay, that's our second round. I'm gonna grab 1 sip of water. And we're gonna go into our last set. Cool, so seated glute ham, sitting up just pretty much how we were. I don't think that's gonna be an issue, but I'm just gonna move these. Okay, so remember, we're controlling the speed down. We're keeping that line, shoulders, hips, knees. Here we go. Last set, make it count. 1, 2, 3, 2 more. 4, 5. Woo! Okay, I'm gonna go back to the original rotations, half kneeling. So left leg bent, hanging onto the kettlebell here. I'm staying super upright. I'm just gonna twist as much as I can and forward. Everything else is quiet here. I'm just rotating. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, and 5. All right, we're on to our last set of press. Wondering if I should do the heavier ones. We've got five repetitions. We'll see how it goes. I've got my lighter ones nearby. If it feels terrible, I'll just lower the weight. Okay. Here we are. So I'm gonna get into my kneeling position. I think the hardest part is actually just getting these into the position you want. So a little clean. All right, here we go, 5 repetitions. 1, 2, 3, 2 more. 4, last one, 5. Whew. I'm really glad that was 5 repetitions. Okay, so I'm gonna grab another drink and we're gonna go into our last block. I think random fact, what's awesome about this bright shirt that I recently got is that I don't have to constantly look at the camera to make sure I'm still in the screen. I know, even out of my peripherals, I'm still in the shot. Okay, so last block. The last block I usually make a little bit more accessories, kind of movements that can be higher repetitions, because the first 2 blocks I want it to be a little bit heavier or a little bit more strength based. So now we're gonna do a little bit of, oh wait, I already said that. Starting to ramble. Okay, so we've got 10 reverse crunches, and I'll show you guys those. We've got adductors, and we've got glute marches with the kettlebell. So the first one, reverse crunches. If you guys haven't done this before, what it looks like, I'll see best way to get in the screen. Actually, here we go. Okay, reverse crunch, super easy. If you guys are laying down, instead of crunching up, now you're just bringing your knees up and towards you, controlling the speed of your hips and your feet. So we've got 10 of those guys, so we'll go ahead and start that now. All right, so my back's flat on the floor. I can use my hands out to the side, or if you want more resistance or make it difficult, bring your hands in. Here we go, 10 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. All right, so those are our reverse sit-ups. Now we've got our adductors. So we've got a couple different ways of doing these depending on how difficult you want it to be. So the first one is we're gonna be in a half plank or side plank position. And so we're gonna be up, I'm on my hands. My hand is right underneath my shoulder. My base is actually gonna be my top leg. So I want this one to stay straight with my hips up. And then I'm just gonna lift my bottom leg. And I wanna pull up with my heel for 10 reps and then switch sides. 8 reps, correction. If that one's too much, like you feel like you're kind of in a broken plank and you have a hard time feeling the plank position, the priority is getting the adductor working versus holding the plank. So an easy solution there is you guys are just gonna lay completely down. I like to hold my arm out straight here. My top leg is just gonna bend and sit right by my opposite knee, no knee pointed up. And then I'm gonna do the same thing, lifting that bottom leg, pause at the top, and let it back down. And you've got 8 repetitions. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the modified one today. I actually tested these out yesterday when I was kind of creating the workout, but we're going through making sure it was good. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay down. I've got my left foot flat on the ground, and I'm gonna lift my right heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, last one, 8. All right, switching sides. Let's see what that says. Okay, hello. Okay, so I'm down on the ground. Now I've got my right foot flat on the ground, and I'm gonna lift my left heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Rest. That one, if you haven't done it before, it might feel a little bit awkward, but we want to work the inside of our leg. So if we get a lot of tight IT bands, all that stuff after running, it's kind of the outside focus or quad. So if we're still working in these little guys, they can still contract and they're not feeling super weak at the end of your runs or the beginning. So that was the adductor lift. Now we're going to do the glute bridge march with kettlebell overhead. And so now what that's going to look like, you can grab any weight. I'm going to do my medium one. And we're back down on the ground. So my feet are flat on the ground. I'm creating a glute bridge, so I'm here. I'm going to lift the weight right overhead, and then I'm going to march. So what that looks like is I'm going to start with my right knee up, put it back down, and then do my left knee. And we're going to do 5 each side here. So I want to maintain this position. 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, 5, and hips down. Cool. So those are our 3 exercises. We can go ahead and get right back into the second set. So we're going to start with 10 reverse crunches. Getting sidetracked. Here we go. 10 reverse crunches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Whew. Okay, we got our adductors, so I'm going right onto my right side. My leg is straight. Show you guys my heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, switching sides. Whee! A little bit of break dancing, no big deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, we've got our glute bridge with march. I'm gonna heavy it up a little bit. So starting out, hips are up, pressing that weight up overhead. We got 5 marches each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and rest. All right, last set, here we go. 10 reverse crunches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woohoo! All right, gotta get those 8 adductor lifts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch sides. 1, ooh, legs straight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, last one, and 8. All right, we got our last glute bridge with march. Here we go. Grabbing the weight. hips up, press up. Here we go, 5 each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, 5, and 5. Hips down. There we go. All right, so those were our 3 blocks that we had. We're gonna go ahead and just stretch it out a little bit. So a lot of the positions we were in were either kneeling or half kneeling. So we're gonna go ahead and just get back into that position and stretch a little bit. So I'm gonna fix my hair, kind of. My left leg is forward, and I'm gonna do 2 things. So I'm gonna rock forward for 5 repetitions. I think that was 4. I got too excited. There we go. And then I'm gonna bring it out to the side and lean that way. 1, 2, 3. Gotta slow it down. We're cooling down now. Workout's over. 4 and 5. All right. Switch sides. Right knee is bent. I'm gonna lean forward for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bring my leg out, still leaning into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, next thing I've got is we're just gonna do the good old fashioned butterfly stretch. So I'm gonna bring my feet together, I'm gonna hold them, and I kind of scoot my hips up just so I can get kind of a narrower butterfly position. And now what I really wanna focus on, instead of being with my shoulders rolled forward, I'm gonna fix my posture, bring my shoulders back. So I'm not only gonna feel a pull in my legs, but I'm also gonna feel it in my shoulders and my back. So I'm here, and you can either just pulse, so you're driving your knees down, like little pulses, obviously, or you can really press down and then release for a couple seconds and repeat. And then here, just don't forget to breathe. We're cooling down. We kind of want to start our recovery process. Take advantage of our good workout. Hold here for a little bit longer. And relax. All right, last one I've got is we're still sitting here, straight leg. I'm gonna take my left leg, put it over my right. I'm gonna take my right arm, put it on the left side of my left leg, and then I'm gonna rotate. So I should really feel this in my back and maybe other places. The side of your left leg. And again, as you exhale, see if you could ask for a little bit more out of that stretch as we twist our shoulders away. We did quite a lot of rotating today, so we should feel fairly good in this position. If not, that's okay. It's day 1. And relax. All right, same thing. Now I'm gonna bring my right foot over my left foot. I'm gonna bring my left arm on the other side of my right leg, and then I'm gonna rotate. If you feel like you can't get your arm back enough, you can also hold here to pull your knee as you look back. So I'm not feeling as much of a stretch on this side because my leg doesn't really want to pull in due to mobility restrictions. So instead of kind of getting stuck here, I'm just gonna hug my knee a little bit more, and then I'm gonna drive my shoulder back. So a little bit different, but still just as effective. You just kind of gotta know what's going on when you do these stretches. Just a few more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. All right, guys, so that was the end of the strength training for running, getting us ready for the Samsung Turkey Trot. in November. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll definitely be reposting it right now basically, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.